Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to our info session on understanding MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowships. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Derya Büyüktaner Karacan, Regional Coordinator of EURAXESS North America, alongside with my colleague Jackson Howard. I am also a professorial lecturer and researcher at GW's Elliott School of International Affairs in Washington, D.C. Today's webinar aims to provide updated information on MSCA and postdoctoral fellowships. This fellowship is one of the Horizon Europe's Pillar 1 funding schemes. It's designed to enhance the creativity and innovation of PhD holders by offering advanced training, international mobility, interdisciplinary collaboration, and intersectoral engagement. MSCA Postdoctoral Fellows welcome researchers of all nationalities. This webinar is very timely, as the latest call for opened in April with a submission deadline of September 11. So let me briefly explain EURAXESS. EURAXESS is a European initiative supported by the European Commission, EU member states, and associated countries. It provides free services, portals, and tools to help researchers outside of Europe connect with researchers and explore research and innovation opportunities within Europe. My colleague Jackson Howard will provide more details on how you can use EURAXESS to search for hosted institutions and other job and funding opportunities after this presentation on MSCA calls. Here is a brief overview of today's agenda and our speakers, as you see on the screen. Our first speaker is Şeyma Sayımlar, and she's the Turkish national contact point for MSCA at the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey, TÜBİTAK. She will share her insights relevant to researchers and institutions in North America and Europe. And following Şeyma's first presentation on all MSCA calls, Jackson will provide information on Euraxess Services and how they can assist with our MSCA application, with your MSCA application, including finding host organizations. And Şeyma will then provide detailed information on MSCA-PF, including tips, tricks, and application criteria, and take your questions afterwards. And next, we will have Dr. Almudena Gomez, a research manager with extensive research experience in various projects, including MSCA, will discuss the University of Navarra as a host institution. This will be very helpful for those looking to find a host institution. And lastly, Dr. Zahir Tohir, a 2021 MSCA-PF fellow at the University of Navarra, will share his testimonial. He will discuss his experience with the fellowship, including the application process, do's and don't do's, and tips for choosing a host organization and preparing a successful proposal. Our speakers will answer your questions at the end of their presentations. And I warmly welcome our esteemed speakers for their invaluable support and collaboration. Thank you for your time, your energy, and support. And before we proceed, here are some housekeeping details. This webinar will be recorded and available on EURAXESS North America website and our YouTube channel. And screenshots may be taken for sharing on our website and social media channels. Please submit your questions via the Q&A box rather than the chat box. Our speakers will address these questions after their presentation, and Jackson will moderate this session. And we encourage you to visit EURAXESS North America website and follow our social media channels that we are going to share all the links during the event. And at the end of the event, we will also share our following events during this month, which will be about ERC and Pillar 2. So I would like to give the floor to our first speaker, Şeyma Sayımlar. But first, I would like to briefly read your short bio, and then I will give the floor to Şeyma. So Şeyma graduated from industrial engineering, and she has worked for TÜBİTAK international cooperation departments for 6 years. As you know, perhaps TÜBİTAK is responsible for the national coordination of framework programs and the bridgehead organization of EURAXESS of Turkey. Şeyma has been the national contact point for Marie Curie and EURAXESS national coordinator for more than 4 years. So Şeyma, the floor is yours. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thank you, Daria. Let me first share my screen. Okay, great. Thanks for inviting me. Actually, it is really great to be here today because now I can meet with our really nice potential researchers because mostly MSCA is about mobility and circulating the researchers among Europe, but also we are trying to attract researchers from outside of the Europe to the Europe. So I think it will be an opportunity, nice opportunity for that. So first, let me start with talking a little bit about what is Horizon Europe and what is Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions, and also a little bit more about Postdoctoral Fellowship. And we are here today thanks to EURAXESS North America. So what is Horizon Europe? It is actually built by European Commission. It is the largest civil research program in all over the world. And for this Horizon Europe, the budget will be around 100 billion euros. And MSCA is a part of it. Actually, Horizon Europe is a really large program. You can see the structure here. It seems a little bit complicated at the start, but you will get the hang of it while you just be around Horizon Europe. There's 3 pillars, and Marie Curie is under the excellence science pillar, and there are very different goals under all Horizon Europe. As you can see, there are different clusters under global challenges and innovative Europe. Mostly under global challenges, you need huge consortiums to apply, but mostly, of course, there are for European institutions. But Marie Curie is a little bit different than that. Let's see here. It is, as I said before, it is for the mobility, for the researchers, and enhance their careers, enhance their environment and everything. So it also involves the institutions outside of the Europe. So this is a nice chance for all of the researchers around the world. So it strongly contributes to excellence research, boosting jobs, growth, and investment by equipping researchers with new knowledge and skills, and providing them with an international as well as intersectoral and interdisciplinary approach. There are 5 different actions funded under MSCA. I will be telling more about postdoctoral fellowship, but just wanted to briefly tell about other calls as well. We have doctoral networks. To apply this, you need a consortium. Actually, researchers individually cannot apply to this call, but different institutions coming together to build a strong doctoral programs, as you can understand by the name. It means that there are different projects can recruit different doctoral programs under doctoral programs, a lot of researchers. All of these projects can be found in Euraxess. Jackson will tell more about these things. So it is a nice opportunity for the researchers who are looking for some PhD programs. Staff exchange is a little bit different than that, as you may understand from the name. it aims to exchange staffs among the consortiums. So it means that you need another consortium for that, built by universities and also other sectors. And also third countries, as we say, in the Horizon Europe, such as USA, Canada, and other countries other than Europe, might be a strong part in the staff exchange calls. So if you're interested in this kind of studies or projects, you can also look into staff exchange a bit more detailed. And we have co-fund. Co-fund also is to build different scholarship programs. Actually, it can be doctoral or postdoctoral, but it is also not for individual researchers to apply. More of industry, universities or other partners in institutional, there is an institutional approach to that program. Also, there are really nice projects you may find in Euraxess that there are very nice job opportunities, funding opportunities under co-funds. So again, Jackson will tell more about it. So you can also see the deadlines over here to apply. And these are my colleagues' name that I'm working in TÜBİTAK. We are working 3 ladies. And if you have any question, you can contact us from this email. I will also share at the end of my presentation. Please do not hesitate to write to us for any inquiry. Okay, let's talk about a bit more about postdoctoral fellowship. As you may understand from the name, the main target of postdoctoral fellowship is fellowships to researchers holding a PhD, wishing to undertake mobility, either to or between EU member states. There are also different options like global panels. If you would like to go other countries outside of Europe, and it needs an original, innovative, personalized research and a project. The objective is to improve researchers' employability and career prospects within academia and beyond, with a strong focus on interdisciplinarity and intersectoral experience. So, as I said, there are different terminology here. As you can see, the program has different parts. Of course, member states are an essential part of the program. Also, there are associated countries like Turkey and other countries you can see here. And Canada is now trying to be an associated country under one pillar, not all pillars, but Canada will be in a different state. Also, there are third countries such as USA, and Switzerland is also a third country. Actually, beside all these countries, any country is a third country in this program. So this is an important detail, so I wanted to mention. Okay, postdoctoral fellowship now is open and we'll be able to get applications until 11 September. It is actually open for each year within a specific date, mostly open in April and closed in September each year. So it means that you can apply every year if you still have the eligibility criteria. It is a mono-beneficiary action. So it needs actually 3 parts: 1 researcher, 1 university or other kind of institution who allows to research, which name is host organization, and 1 supervisor from this host organization. This is 3 essential part of this projects. There are European fellowships and global fellowships. I will be telling more about European fellowship today because now you're all researchers from USA or Canada, mostly, I think. It is clever to apply to European fellowships under this program. Host organizations must be in EU or Horizon Europe associated country. It is open to all research domain. It is very important. Actually, it means that you can apply with any topic you want, as long as it is a civil project. And it is open to excellent researchers of any nationality. If you're applying to European Fellowship, this is why I would like to more tell you about European Fellowship. Okay, European Fellowship means that you will need to choose a host country from Europe or associated countries such as Turkey or Spain, of course. And Global Fellowship is for EU or associated country nationality. If you have, you can apply to a third country, and you will need to add 1 more year for your project to come back to Europe. It is actually for getting the know-how to Europe again. This is a very popular program, so it means that the compatibility is very high. This is only for, of course, postdoctoral researcher. It means that you have to have your PhD until 11 September, or at least you have to defend your thesis until this date. And if you can provide an evidence that you defended and get the award of a PhD, you don't have to actually graduate, but if you have an evidence, you can apply. There is another eligibility criteria. After your PhD, you shouldn't exceed 8 years of research experience. But when we mean research experience, it doesn't mean that only 8 years. There are some exceptions for that rule. If, for example, you were in a leave or paternity leave, maternity leave, or for military reasons, for sickness, maybe you didn't work for a while, maybe you work other than some area of research. These are all exceptions from this 8 year. And researchers have to have a mobility, which means that I will get to the bottom of that later. Training and career development through research. There are different options such as secondments and non-academic placements. And if you're applying for European Fellowship, your project must be at least 12 months or at most 24 months. For GF, you have to add 12 months plus. And if you are planning to have a non-academic placement, it adds up until 6 months to your projects. Okay, we talked all about this, but about the mobility, it is an important, very important criteria. While you are choosing your host country, you have to be careful that you didn't stay more than 12 months within 36 months of the call deadline, which means that if you would like to go to a country, for example, you are already in USA, but for a short while you were in Turkey for like 10 months, it means that you're still eligible to apply to Turkey. But if you were in Turkey more than 12 months, of course, you are not eligible to apply for Turkey. You may apply to another country. Okay, I talked about this 8-year rule. I don't want to extend a lot, but please check all the documents for those details if you're interested, or you can directly ask to us about these details. Okay, secondments and non-academic placements are a very, very beautiful part of this program, I think, because being a postdoctoral researcher is not a very difficult thing, of course, but with these options, it becomes better and better. Secondments mean that besides your host organization, you can choose any kind of institution in anywhere in the world to like, okay, maybe you have a host organization that you will do the main part of your project, but maybe you need another institution to do another part of your project. For example, you are working on health science and you're making all these studies in a university, but also you need a hospital or a laboratory. Or let's say you will produce something and you need a private sector organization to, you know, maybe do more extent of your projects. So it means that you can choose any kind of organization to add your projects. And it means secondments. There is one rule about this. It shouldn't be more than 1/3 of the project. But it can be divided to shorter periods, and also it can be placed in any time of your project. For example, you can choose 3 months to this institution, 4 months to another institution during your project time. Also, there is non-academic placement. It is a bit different. As you may understand from the name, it has to be a non-academic institution. Also, it will go to the end of your project, which means that mostly it aims to extend your projects in a different, you know, direction. For example, you studied on some social science topic, then you feel the need to maybe build a strategy or a policy from this research at the end of your project. Then you may choose like, let's say, maybe, I don't know, a different institution, not a university, of course, and you can extend your project up to 6 months with non-academic placements. The best part is that these are the numbers that you will get from the project budgets. This living allowance, mobility allowance, and family allowance means that this is your salary, actually. Living allowance is around 6,000 euros, but there is a control correction coefficients for each country. You can check from the documents. It is multiplied by that number. Of course, this amount will be taxed, and maybe your insurance also will be extracted from here, but the rest is yours. Mobility allowance is given with no tax. And if you have a kid, children, or if you're married, you can also have family allowance for each month. For research training, networking contribution, you will have 1,000 euro for each month, and your institution will have the management contribution for each month, 650 euros. So it means these are all fixed costs, and it will multiply it by your project duration. If it's 12 months, you will just multiply it with 12 months. Okay, there is no topic, but there are 8 panels that projects will be evaluated under, and there will be standard peer review, 3 experts per proposal. They will be evaluating from all over the world. And of course, it will be a distance evaluation. This is a bottom-up program, and this is a single stage evaluation, which means at once you will know about the results, but it takes like 5 months, all these process. So you'll know about your results like maybe around February next year. Okay, let's keep those details. Okay, one important thing, I said you can resubmit each year, but you need to first have more than 70% for resubmission from your first project. previous projects. So if you're under 70%, you cannot resubmit with the same project, but you can submit with a different project. And if you are scored above 85 points, it means that you have a seal of excellence. European Commission says that your project is really very nice. We don't have the money to fund it because mostly above 95 points are funded under these projects. Okay, I'm done for this session. We will keep going in my next session with the details of evaluation criteria and tips and tricks. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Şeyma. It was an excellent brief overview because I know that it has so many details and I can even see the questions right now coming in the Q&A box. So, but it's really good that we have so many questions and we have now today experts on both the technical and the practical sides. So right now we have Jackson, my colleague Jackson, and for 4 years we have been really trying to very active in providing information, especially MSCA, how these researchers can find job and funding opportunities as well, also hosting institutions. So Jackson, floor is yours, and we will come back to Şeyma later on.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Şeyma, for the great presentation. I will invite anyone that might be sharing their questions in the chat to you can even copy and paste those same questions right in the Q&A box, and that way all of the hosts and panelists will be able to see them and either type a response to as many of them as possible that then all the attendees can see and or address them live during the Q&A session that will follow some of the other presentations. So I'll take a short amount of time, especially since many of the attendees are already familiar with EURAXESS, but I'll give a brief refresher on that. And then also is one component of the Euraxess Services, explain how you can use EURAXESS to find potential host institutions for your postdoctoral fellowship, whether you are interested in doing the European fellowship or the global fellowship. So let me share my screen and then get right into my presentation. And I'll ask Daria to let me know if there's any technical issues. So right now, I think everything should be fine. If there's a black bar covering my screen, let me know, and I'll try to move some of the Zoom interface around.
Everything looks great, so you can
Perfect.
go.
Thank you so much. So like I said, this will be a bit quick, and to complement Daria's housekeeping remarks, all of the speakers have very kindly offered to share their presentations. So although we do expect this webinar to be about an hour and a half or 2 hours total, if there's a robust question and answer session, we do have to move somewhat quickly through a lot of the content just to be able to cover a lot of ground. So if there's any follow-up questions, we're always happy to take things offline by email, schedule calls or Zoom meetings afterwards. And you can always remain connected to the national contact points by email as well. So let me go through here. As a reminder, Daria and I are based in Washington, D.C., covering all of the U.S. and Canada. We're part of EURAXESS worldwide. There is a large European component to EURAXESS. We are the part of the team outside of Europe with the task of really being your contact points in our countries, continents, and regions to help get you closer to EU research and innovation, whether it's information on funding, collaboration. If you're interested in all EU level funding or a specific country, whatever the case may be, our job is to help connect you to that. So firstly, everything we do is free. We are really information brokers, information services, and a large part of our mandate is to promote mobility of researchers. And that's, as you saw earlier during Şeyma's sharing of the sort of famous Horizon Europe graphic, Pillar 1 is really all about mobility. And that's in both directions, to Europe and then from Europe elsewhere. And really, just to elaborate and underscore what Şeyma had said as well, when we say Europe, we're not talking only about those 27 EU member states, but also a bunch of additional countries in the wider European region that have negotiated with the EU, and both sides have come together, and they basically buy into Horizon Europe. They buy into the EU's Research and Innovation Framework Program. And in simplified terms, they get treated as if they were an EU country for the purpose of research. So really, you have the entire European neighborhood open to you if you'd like to do the European fellowship, or if you're from any of these 45 plus countries, you can go anywhere else in the world on the global fellowship. So I just want to give a quick moment or two reminding you what's on the Euraxess website. So maybe our bread and butter, as you could call it, is our jobs and funding portal. This also extends with the exact same interface to what's called a hosting portal, and I'll show you that live at the very end of my presentation. And basically, these are EU-run, managed by humans. Every post is manually approved, so you don't have to worry about people easily spamming these tools. And it's where you can find jobs both in and out of academia and then in and out of Europe. So, of course, because Dary and I cover the US and Canada, we actually see a healthy number of universities and private sector institutions publishing their vacancies, whether they're academic positions or not, to this portal, and everything is free. So I would say if you're interested in Europe, it should be the first stop for you. And if you're interested in coming from Europe to, let's say, North America on the global fellowship of MSCA-PF, then I think it's a really good starting point. And then, of course, if you are interested in a certain university and they're not familiar with the fellowship, you can inform them and also connect them to us, and we can help sort of onboard them into the process, explain in a bit more detail, and then they can hopefully provide you that letter of support, and you can apply to the EU and hopefully get accepted. We also have a lot of career development tools. A lot of these are archived and have also been done online in recent years due to the pandemic. And then again, I said we're information brokers. Our job is to provide you information and assistance. We have a team of 9 hubs around the world, but then within Europe, every single country has a website called the Euraxess National Portal, and then several service centers throughout the country that will have regional expertise and thematic expertise, both on academic areas of research, but then also within that country itself and specific funding programs. And I mentioned before, we have 9 what we call hubs, 9 offices around the world. Here's a list of those countries and continents just for your reference. So we've been talking a lot about associated countries, EU member states, and third countries. I want to share with you here, this is a list of all the countries that have a Euraxess national portal, basically a Euraxess website with country-specific information. So if you were to come to us and say you're interested in Turkey, of course, we would connect you with Shema and her institution as TÜBİTAK, but then also there's a Euraxess Turkey team that will similarly complement them and give you that information. And this goes to all the countries you see on the list. I just want to say the one exception here is that Switzerland is not associated to Horizon Europe. It was associated to previous framework programs from the EU. So they still have a Euraxess national portal, but you could not do the European Fellowship with a Swiss host institute. You could do it in any of the other countries and territories that you see on this list. And what most of these websites will have, they're mostly standardized, there's some that are a bit different, are information on what it's like to move to that country, whether it's from Europe or from other continents, on these 18 different topics that they divide into 3 overarching categories. And then because I would like to go through this as quickly as I can and leave time for the great speakers, my hope is that you'll go through and you'll click a lot of these resources here. Of course, we as Euraxess North America are hosting this webinar with the great speakers who are joining us today. This is our homepage here. All of the postdoctoral fellowship itself, the full terminology and information on the call can be found in what's called the European Commission's Funding and Tenders Portal, or FTP. That's the long URL, and I'll make sure that this link is embedded also in the event post that you'll get a link to in the follow-up email from Zoom tomorrow if you're watching this live and registered. And then if you're interested in seeing, for example, all of the projects from MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowships at a specific institute that you might want to be your host institute, or in a particular country, or in a specific thematic area, you can go on what's called Cordis, and that's the website of the European Commission that hosts information on all EU-funded projects, and in our case, research projects from the mid-90s onward. And there's a really robust search tool, so you can modify the filters and whittle down a list to see potential topics of interest. And then, of course, if you have specific questions on a certain country, start with us as Euraxess North America, but in particular for Europe, there are national contact points, just like TÜBİTAK for Turkey. So if you were to tell me you're interested in country X, I would encourage you to click that link in the PDF you'll get afterwards, find the NCPs there, make sure they are listed as Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions, national contact points, and from there you can contact them by email, set up a call, whatever you'd like, but they will generally provide you expert information within a few business days, both in their country's home language and in English as well. So this is a quick screenshot of the Cordis website and arrows that just highlight what some of the most common filters that you might toggle on and off are or search. And before I just show you quickly the hosting portion of the Euraxess website, I just close with a reminder on what we do. Our job is to link researchers across our 2 continents. So with that, we really do want to be in touch, help you however we can. All of our services are free, like we said. So in a future slide, you'll have our contact information. And again, we disseminate information on European funding opportunities. This is in both directions. So if you're here today, you're interested in the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions Postdoctoral Fellowships, which again are to go in either direction. So we really will do everything we can to disseminate that information to you. And we support your career development, regardless of if you want to engage in mobility or not. So do be in touch with us. Let us know if you have ideas for webinars, specific questions we can answer. And if we can't answer ourselves, we'll always connect you to other Europe-based national contact points who can. I will be sharing in the chat momentarily information on some upcoming webinars we have next week, and then I believe at the end of the month. So Shema talked about pillars 1 and 2 of Horizon Europe, which are also what we as Euraxess focus on. Pillar 1 on excellence finance, just as a reminder, with the idea being that these are for the most part information. These are funding for individual researchers, bottom up, meaning there's no predetermined categories or subject areas. These are open to all fields, not just STEM. And again, for the purpose of mobility. So Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions to go in either direction. European Research Council grants, with the exception of one scheme, are generous funding to go to Europe to set up a lab and carry out high risk, high gain research. We will have an information session on that on June 10th, and I will share a link so you can register if that might be of interest to you. Those opportunities start at those who are 2 years post PhD and beyond for all career stages. And then later in the month, we'll also have a webinar on Pillar 2, primarily for those based in North America, but anyone can join. And again, just to reiterate what Shema said, this is for top-down open calls, meaning the European Commission has defined a specific global challenge or societal challenge. And you and a consortium of principal investigators from around the world, of which a small number have to be based in Europe, apply together, and the consortium may or may not win. And then you would, depending on your circumstances, get funding to carry out that project. Because Canada will associate to Horizon Europe for Pillar 2 only later this year, and it will be retroactive to January 1st, Canada-based PIs would get funding. All European Union member states and associated countries will get funding. If you're a PI based in the US, regardless of your nationality, you would only get funding in the health cluster. Other clusters you can join, but you would have to bring external funding. And if you are from one of the countries that's a third country, but it's considered by UN definition to be middle or low income, you would be eligible for funding as a PI. So I say this just because this is an online webinar and we have people attending from all over the world. So I think that's important to note. And over the 7 years of Horizon Europe, it's over $103 billion US. So there really is a lot of money. The majority of it is in Pillar 2, but as you saw from Shema, I believe it's 6.6 billion euro over the course of 7 years from Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions. So there really is a lot of money for you to go to Europe or from Europe to North America. So if you haven't already opted into our twice-a-month flash note emails, where we just have small bits of information on events, both in person and online, research-related news, and then specific funding opportunities and event recordings, you're welcome just to scan that QR code there. However, if you selected yes, you want to sign up when you register for this webinar, I will manually add you later today, and you'll start getting those emails. This email address here, northamerica@euraxess.net, will come both to Daria and I together, and one of us will get back to you promptly. And I did share in the chat earlier, and these links will be clickable when you have the PDF as well. I did share a link to all of our social media channels. You can basically type in Euraxess North America into any of the big websites, and you'll find our account as the first result. So this here is a quick overview of the Euraxess portal. You can see that strip at the blue strip at the very top of the screenshot mirrors one of my earlier slides. If you hover over jobs and funding, which I'll do live in just a moment, you will see one of the options is hosting. And this is where you can type in certain filters, like the country you might be interested in or your research area, and universities and other institutions that are aware of MSCA basically put their hosting offers. This is a way for you to make sure that you could match up with a team that is already aware of this and would provide you a letter of support. However, I would also encourage you to find institutions that are doing work you're passionate about, that you're interested in. And then if they're not aware of MSCA, and this might be more common outside of Europe than inside of Europe, connect them with us, share with them the Euraxess website and the EU websites on MSCA, and then encourage them to learn a bit more, because I think for them it's very prestigious to have someone who has been awarded a postdoctoral fellowship, because these are quite competitive. And then the salary paid by the EU. So they really do have a vested interest in making sure that they learn about this if you're interested in moving forward with them. So before I jump to the live demonstration, which will be very quick, I just want to show you the jobs and funding section. It's the exact same interface. It's just a different button that you click. It's the same filters, the same tags, so you can type in countries, keywords, you can modify how you sort. At any given time, you'll see about 10 to 13,000 jobs. Again, these are vacancies that are in and out of academia all over the world, primarily in Europe. And they generally you don't apply through the Euraxess portal. I always like to emphasize this. Basically, you will be taken to the contact information or the link of the institute's vacancy itself. So really, the Euraxess website is a springboard. I encourage you to register for a free account, but you don't have to. But there's no bottleneck in our sense. You don't have to wait for us to manually review any of your information. We don't see it. You just simply click onward and then apply to the job that you see here on the portal. So I will stop my presentation here. I won't stop my screen sharing because what I want to do is encourage you to go to northamerica.euraxess.org. That will take you to our homepage. Of course, you can do this later. On any Euraxess website, whether it's a Euraxess Worldwide page or just the Euraxess homepage, you can hover over the jobs and funding section of that top horizontal strip, click find hosting, and I'm doing this live right now. And you can see at any given moment, there should be a large number of hosting offers as long as there is a currently open call. So as Shema had mentioned before, in April, the current postdoctoral fellowship, MSCA, call opened. It closes on September 11th of this year. So generally outside of the opening period, you won't find many hosting offers. However, many institutions are well aware of MSCA. They've hosted fellows in the past, and they make these available on an annual basis. So you can see here, for example, this today, this Polish institute posted their hosting offer for MSCA. They have to answer a set of standardized questions in order for the post to be approved on the Euraxess portal. They explain why they believe they're an attractive institute and why you should, if you have background experience in this area, why you should select them. And then they also have an internal deadline, not for the September 11th MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowship deadline itself, but a deadline for you to be in touch with them, for them to provide perhaps some support. A lot of universities, and I will leave this to one of our following speakers, Almudena, who will speak about her university and why you should consider them in Spain. Certain institutions will also offer you what they call master classes, basically providing you support in your application to the EU itself, to the European Commission, with the idea that they, of course, want you to be successful because they want you to carry out your research with them. So please make note of both deadlines, the call itself, but then also the institution's deadline to express interest to them or to sort of be approved by their supervisors who would host you. So this is just the top link that I clicked. You can scroll and you can see here, these are all EU funded, or all host institutes that are interested in hosting you. You can also filter by the specific actions themselves. So this is where, if you're not interested in ERC grants, which again, we have a webinar next week, we'll talk about, this is where you can only click on MSCA. And if I close this and type search, that 571 number, it will go down slightly. So most of these are MSCA hosting offers, but you could also filter by, let's say, just a few countries. I'll type a few European countries in here. Okay, I think I have just 7 countries, and that 500 plus number will go down to 63. So you can see it's a lot at once. It will become a much more manageable number once you type in your specific countries and topics of interest. So I will close with that and perhaps invite Daria to welcome Shema back to continue the presentation. And I will be monitoring the chat and the Q&A section. If you have questions that you think our speakers might answer, you're welcome to hold off, or you can share them now and you might see some written responses by the time some of the Q&As start. So thank you all very much and for your attention. Look forward to being in touch.
Thank you, Jackson. It was very brief, fast, but excellent presentation as always. And I would like to invite Shema again for the details of the postdoctoral fellowships.
Okay, let's start where we were. First, I would like to emphasize one thing. Maybe it is not well understood because I was so fast, I know. There's a lot of information to tell actually, but we have a short time. We don't want to take much of your time, so we are trying to be quick. But there are very, very important details. You should know that you can choose any organization you want to apply with. And there is no process of accepting these organizations. Actually, the only thing they have to do to open an account on Funding and Tenders portal. I think most of the universities already has an account on funding and tenders portal. This is all you need to apply with these institutions. So there is actually no system for approval any of those organizations. So keep it in mind. Euraxess only helps you to reach these organizations and help these organizations to reach you, but these are not only options. You can choose any institution in Europe for European Fellowship or for Global Fellowship, but be careful if you are not a European member state or associated country national, you cannot apply for Global Fellowship. There's only one way to do it. If you stayed more than 5 years for professional reasons in any of those countries, you can apply also for Global Fellowship. But if not, and if you're not a national, you cannot apply to Global Fellowship. You should proceed with European Fellowship. These are two important points I would like to emphasize. So let's keep going with the evaluation criteria. We have actually the projects are based on 2 sections, Part A and Part B. I will tell all about those, but this is the Part B one, which is your project proposal. It is prepared on a template. You have all these questions and all these schemes, anything you need to answer, any topic, you will find it on this document template. And there are 3 sections on this template: excellence, impact, and implementation. These 3 have different weighings. Excellence has the most weight, which 50%, and impact has 30% weight, and implementation has 20% weight. But it doesn't mean that anyone is the least important, because now, as I said before, above 95 points projects are funded. So each part is very, very important while you are applying. So let's start with the excellence part. You will also see all these things on the template, but I would like to emphasize also here. Under the excellence part, there's 4 topics you should fill in. First is quality and pertinence of the project research and innovation objectives. You should be telling how ambitious your project is and what is the state of the art and how your project will go beyond the state of the art. These are very important questions, because I think in these projects, the most important thing is that the innovative part of your project, actually. So this is very important, and you have to be very clear about your research objectives and soundness of the proposed methodology. You should mention about interdisciplinarity of your projects and gender dimensions and other diversity aspects if relevant, and quality of open science practices. These are becoming more and more important in postdoctoral fellowship. So each of these questions needs an answer in your project proposal. And the third one is the quality of supervision and training and two-way transfer of knowledge between the researcher and the host, of course, how your supervisor will be assisting you, and also what you can give to the institution. There should be two-way transfer of knowledge between you and the host. And fourth topic is the quality and appropriateness of the researcher's professional experience, competences, and skills. Of course, it means that you have to have a knowledge about your topic before, but sometimes you may decide to, change your course on your research journey, it also is possible with postdoctoral fellowship. You just need to tell everything explained in your proposal in this frame. On the impact part, you can see the first credibility of measures to enhance the career perspectives and employability of the researcher and contribution to his/her skills development. It means, of course, you will be telling all about your research topic, but also there are very important skills that you might gain with this project other than the research area. For example, soft skills, you may gain maybe new languages where you went, because you will be in another country than yours mostly, and you may gain maybe like I don't know, very different skills that you can come a lot of things coming to my mind. So these are also very important for these projects. The second topic is suitability and quality of the measures to maximize expected outcomes and impacts, as set out in the dissemination and exploitation plan, including communication activities. Of course, yes, dissemination exploitation plans are a very important part of these projects proposal. You may think of very different ways also for the communication activities. You may include different institutions from all over the world. You can organize different conferences, different activities for the dissemination. You can give maybe classes on this research topic, and you can visit other kind of organizations for dissemination and exploitation plans. And the third topic is the magnitude and importance of the project's contribution to the expected scientific, social, and economic impacts. These impacts should be examined through Europe, not only to the country where you will be conducting your research, but you should think of whole Europe as for the impacts, and not only scientific, also there might be societal and economic impacts of your project proposal. These are all very important aspects that you should be included in your projects. And for the implementation part, as you can see, our first topic is the quality and effectiveness of the work plan, assessment of risks and appropriateness of the effort assigned to work packages. You, of course, need to include a Gantt chart to show your work packages and relate it with all your project targets, and all the work packages should be linked. Also, assessment of risks are also very important, because it shows that you have a realistic approach to this research plan. You are aware of the risks and you have contingency plan to deal with all these risks. The second topic is the quality and capacity of host institutions and participating organizations, including hosting arrangements. You might need some help from your host institution to fill this part. So it is very important to, go with the project proposal with your host institution and supervisor all together. And third topic is the quality and capacity of host institutions and participating organizations. Oh, no, sorry, this is the same. So this is the implementation part. As I said, there are two parts. Part A are the application forms that you must fill from the system. But be careful, there are a lot of information that you need to fill through the system, very detailed information. You and your host organization and your supervisor should be included while filling all these forms. So it is also it takes a lot of time. Be careful about it. And part B is the technical description. We also have a document how to submit your MSCA-PF proposal. You might find all these informations in our website. I will show a little bit part of our website later on. So try to check our website to find all these documents. So part A includes structured data to the IT system, acronym and title for the project. You will be selecting the scientific area. Once you open the submission system, you will see all these things that come to the screen. First, you choose an acronym and a title for the project, and you are selecting the scientific area. Then you are choosing descriptors up to 5. And there are many different keywords. Be careful while choosing all these keywords, because your evaluators will be chosen according to these keywords. And there's an abstract you should fill in, maximum to 1,000 characters. And you will also be choosing if it is a resubmission or not in the first page. All these informations cannot be changed later. Be careful about it. So once you enter these informations, it will be stuck in there. Of course, you might just delete your proposal and start once again. It's possible, but still it is better to decide all these things first, then start submission. And in part A, there is a researcher information, including PhD award date. If the PhD is more than 8 years ago, there is a table for extensions like maternity leaves and sick leaves and everything I told you about. And countries of residence for past 5 years should be included in researcher information. And there is beneficiary information. As I said, beneficiaries needs to have an account in the system. And once they are registered in the system, they are getting a participant information code, which we call PIC. This is important, and it should be validated before the grant agreement phase. And if this is a global fellowship, you are choosing 2 institutions. One is in Europe, one is in third country. The coordinator will be the one in the Europe, and the third country will be in associated country in the system. And if you have a non-academic placement, you are also adding it as an associated partner. Part B has 2 sides, part B1 and part B2. B1 is the one that I showed you. It should be up to 10 pages. If it's more than 10 pages, after the 10 pages, they are just cutting your documents, so evaluators cannot read. So be very careful about not to exceed the 10 pages. It is filled on like a Word document. You might, of course, extract it to a PDF, and then you are uploading it to the system. This is how it works. For this document, you should be using maximum 11 points for font size and 8 for the tables. These are all included in the template documents, but I just want to emphasize. And in the part B2, you are including your CV and capacity of the participating organizations, additional ethics, security information, environmental considerations, blah, blah. And letter of commitments are going to the part B2. There is no page limit for part B2. So if you would like to add anything else, you can add it here. But other than all these things, evaluator might just discard whatever you add or they might read it. This is an unknown situation. So if you would like to edit, but don't count on it. For the tips and tricks, first, I would like to say, I didn't write it down, but be careful. It shouldn't be like an academic paper. This is an important thing to be careful about, because we can see that mostly academicians think it is an academic paper. So this is not actually, this is a project that you have to sell. So your approach should be like this. You have to sell your idea. You have to be very careful about being realistic and also optimistic at the same time. And I think evaluators can understand if you believe in your project or not. If your projects are solid and on the ground, that you have your research objectives, but you also have how the ways to do it. It is obvious that you can do it. You have maybe some new idea, but it is, I think, mostly clear to evaluators that you can do it or not. So be careful about being realistic to the solid, to the ground while you are writing your project, and be careful that you should sell your idea in this project proposal. Use a self-explanatory title and a memorable acronym for your project. There is an acronym creator website that I added here. You can just visit this website. Abstract also should sell your project and be understandable to the non-experts. Make sure that state of the art is updated, which means if you are resubmitting an idea like you had before, be careful to search all these new research proposals, research that's if anything new add to the research topic. Our idea is using Times New Roman is the best idea, because it takes I think the least space in the text, and it is always a nice idea to using charts, diagrams, text boxes, figures, and tables. Using a lot of color is also not of course overusing it, but still using colors is always a good idea. And highlighting, very appropriate. Hyperlinks is not a good idea, because most of the evaluators don't click the hyperlinks. So write down anything you want to evaluator to see on the project proposal. Avoiding jargon is also very important, because not all evaluators are the expert in the scientific subject, specific scientific subject, which means that maybe, of course, you are giving an idea on mathematics. Of course, the researcher will be understanding this, but maybe not that specific topic. So if you're using a jargon, maybe very well known to you, but it may be unknown to them. So avoid jargon and avoid long sentences. Don't repeat everything too much, and do not wait to submit until last days, because as I said, part A takes a lot of time, also fulfilling all these project proposals. I think the biggest challenge is to write all these information in 10 pages. So first you have a 15-page of proposal mostly, then you are trying to eliminate the pages. So it also takes a lot of time. We tried it, so be careful about it also. I try to also tell a little bit about common errors, missing the call deadline, of course, and not respecting eligibility requirements. Being careful about it is important, because you're giving a lot of effort to do all these things, and then if you are not eligible, it will be in vain, so be careful. Do not exceed the page limits. If you are adding another institution, be careful about taking the letter of commitment and putting it to the part B2. Don't confuse secondments and non-academic placements. and don't use too small fonts. This is the call deadline. As I said, you will be hearing about the results around February 2025. And after the results come out, grant agreement phase takes around 3 months. It means that you can start like around May 2025, or you have the chance to postpone your project until 1 year. That means that you can maybe start until September 2026. Okay, another option is ERA fellowship. I would like to also mention that because Turkey is a widening country, and in Horizon Europe, there is a section called widening countries, and these have some special treatments. Let's say that. So far, for widening countries, there is another budget under MSCA, which means that if maybe you get a very nice point, but still it was not enough for the amount of the project budget, but you are in the reserve list. So if you choose the ERA fellowship option, which you might do if you're applying to a widening country such as Turkey, there is another budget for that, and you can be funded from that budget. And there is no need, any need to separate application or evaluation. It will be all the same process, but from the another budgets. And this is only valid for European fellowships. Okay. If you are looking for the past projects, funded projects, Cordis is your friend first. There is a website named Cordis. If you enter this website, you will see all funded projects under Horizon Europe. You can filter all of them. You can just maybe type to the search button like postdoctoral fellowship and your researcher idea, and that you can see each project funded under your research idea or countries. And you will be reaching the topic, the budget, the abstract, the country, the institution name. These information are available on this website. Also on the project proposal web page, you will be finding, for example, for PF 2023 call. If you visit the call page, at the end of the web page, you will see all the funded projects under this specific call. Okay, Jackson told you all about Euraxess, so please do not forget to visit Euraxess. These are very important documents published by European Commission, will help you through your project process. Work program is the main document, and guide for applicants is published for each call differently. And we have proposal templates, and we have frequently asked questions and everything. And I will tell you a little bit about how we work as national contact points. In each country, there are different national contact points who will be helping you with these proposals. Of course, each national contact point is mostly responsible for their country, but we are trying to help anybody in the world who will be asking us about any question. In Turkey, we are working with like these three ladies, as I said before, and there are other national contact points. The European Commission always published the list of these contact points. You can find it easily on the Google. And as national contact points, we have a project where we are trying to enhance our work all together. And we have very nice documents published under this project. Our handbooks are my favorites. Please visit our webpage to find all these handbooks. Because as a researcher, if I would like to apply to postdoctoral fellowship, this handbook will be all that I need while applying, because it contains each detailed information about the proposal template, tips and tricks, and any information you can think of, you may find in this handbook. So please check this. Also, we are publishing set of graphs. Sometimes researchers are curious about how many people were funded under this specific call, and what was, the budget, and what was the cutoff scores and everything. You may find all these informations under evaluation guides and set of graphs. We also have a FAQ blog under our website, so you can just visit our website and see all these information. Okay, I would also like to tell you about our supports who would like to apply to an institution in Turkey. We are giving these supports as TÜBİTAK. Actually, this is one of a kind. I didn't hear anyone giving these kind of supports anywhere in the world. So if you are planning to apply to postdoctoral fellowship, actually there are a lot of different supports under Horizon Europe, but today I will only be telling about postdoctoral fellowship supports. If you're planning to apply to a Turkish institution, we have a system that you will be coming to us with your project proposal, and we also give it to some evaluators to see if it is a potential. If evaluators experts thinks that, okay, it has a potential, it might be funded if it gets some help, so we are giving you fund for pre-evaluation supports, which means there are many different experts in the world who are very who has special knowledge about postdoctoral fellowship. You are just going to them and they are reading your proposal, giving you feedback to enhance your project proposal, and we are paying the money to these experts. So if you are planning to apply to a Turkish institution, feel free to use all these supports. You may also find it in our webpage. Thank you very much for listening. I think I can answer the questions now. I also would like to show you our webpage here. As you can see, this is the horizoneurope.org.cr, and there are very different information about Horizon Europe everywhere. As you can see here in the main page, you will see all the calls about Marie Curie Actions and specific information here. Also, TÜBİTAK supports are here. As you can see, for example, let's click and you will see each step you should take. So if you would like to visit our webpage, feel free. Okay, let's get to the questions.
Thank you very much, Shema. We'll make sure that we include a link to that in the chat as well. And then when we post the recording, we'll make that available on our website and then the YouTube video as well. So you can check the Q&A box for yourself. I've taken the liberty of trying to answer a few questions alongside you. So you can, maybe what we can do is if you're comfortable reading aloud the questions that you and I have both already answered. And in my case, let me know if you have anything to elaborate on or if there's anything to correct in my responses. And then also we can go through some of the questions that continue to come in. And also for those that have been asking, I've been marking some as to be answered live. So Shame and I together can go through those. So why don't we start with the answered ones if you'd like to just read from the top.
Answered ones. Okay, let's see. I'm struggling to find a host institution in the US for the global fellowship, polymer or organic chemistry idea. Okay, Euraxess will be helping you with this. You answered the Canada part. Well, I answered about Mexico. If a project is approved, how soon after start? Okay, I think I already replied that in my presentation. Is this fellowship available for Yemeni national PhD holders? Yes, if you are applying to European fellowship, you are free to apply as a Yemeni. Okay, unanswered ones. Is it possible to submit more than one proposal with different hosts per candidate? No, it's not possible. You can only have one project proposal as one researcher. But supervisors might have a couple of researcher working with them. Should a candidate background fit the subject in proposal? Well, mostly yes, but as I said in my presentation, if you are trying to change your course, you can nicely explain in the project. Of course, it cannot be like a, very different area that you have no knowledge about, but you might change your course a little, and postdoctoral PF will be, I think, supporting you on that. Should it be mentioned the secondments and replacements in the proposal? Definitely, you should be mentioning all of them in your projects, and they need to be very sound in the projects, because experts mostly understands if you're just throwing seconds to the project, but they might be very linked together. They might be reasonable during the project. When and where and why is it in the project? You should be very sound about them.
To that same point, if I may interrupt and ask,
yes,
do the secondment institutions need to also provide a letter of support, just as the host institutions would?
I don't think, not anymore. Before they had to, but in the last presentation of European Commission, they said there will be no need for that, as far as I remember. But we can find it on documents as well. It is better to be sure about it. In practical terms, what does it mean for people from other countries looking to do a postdoc? What does it mean for people from other countries looking to do? I'm not sure if I understand this question.
I think what we can do is we will welcome the audience to use the raise hand feature if you'd like to elaborate on anything or make it a little bit more conversational, just so that we have time for the other speakers. Perhaps we won't spend much more than just a couple minutes on this portion. But if I may, I would just say that because a lot of the questions we received that sound similar to this one are generally people that think because they are not from a European country, they suspect that perhaps they do not get to participate as fully as Europeans would. And I really want to dispel that myth and just explain that, of course, you would have to get the visa, yes, but by being awarded the fellowship, I think that's a formality that you will not have trouble moving forward with. So, of course, you would become a resident of the country of your host institute, but you are no other way. You're not excluded in any sense, and you're not being paid less because of that. So really, yes, people are often asked questions based on their nationality or their current country of residence. And I just want to say that this is, although it's an EU program, it's truly a global program. And if you look at it a bit philosophically, this is also demonstrated by the fact that people based in Europe can go anywhere else in the world. So it's not only to go to Europe, or it's not only for Europeans. So please, regardless of the country you're from, if you're interested in going to Europe, I think they'll be. Hopefully you find your host institute. Hopefully it's on the Euraxess portal through the support of TubiTalk or specific universities like the one you'll hear from shortly. But this is a nice segue also. In one of my earlier written answers that those attending live will be able to see if you just click the Q&A box on Zoom and then the Answered tab. There is a program that I believe was a pilot program that initially was running for 1 or 2 years only from an EU-funded project called MSCA-NET. That's all uppercase MSCA-NET, N-E-T. And it's basically a matchmaking platform. It uses a website called b2match.io. It's a bit interactive, this platform, so you can register a free profile and then either as a host institute or as a researcher, and you can do the same thing on the Euraxess platform, but this is a bit more interactive and this is specifically for the purpose of MSCA. And you can basically explain your research and hope that host institutes are also looking at this and then making contact with one another to hopefully find your hosts too. So there's not as much awareness as I would like outside of Europe for this program. So that's why Daria and I are working hard really to hold webinars like this, and then also in private and internal meetings with universities in North America, encourage them to be involved. But I think really, if you have a little bit of free time, I would just encourage you to make the free profile on that website. It should be clickable in the Q&A box. And it runs for, it was extended for a final year. So I believe it will end at the end of May next year. So you basically have almost a year from today to use that. So I'll leave it with that, but thank you very much. Maybe if anyone has a final last minute question, you're welcome to submit it now. As of what I can see on my screen, there's no pending questions. So I will perhaps invite you, Shema, to share any closing thoughts on your end, and then Daria can introduce the following speakers. Thank you so much.
Now I understand why I didn't understand this question. Yes, for me, anywhere in the world has equal chance to apply this. So I haven't thought that other nationalities would feel excluded, but of course they might. There's no exclusion for any nationality if you're applying to European Fellowship, which means in any country in Europe or associated countries, you feel so free to just proceed with your projects. Just remember that you can choose any institution you want. Just first contact with them and find a suitable supervisor. And this is a must before you're applying, because you will be applying with them on the system. This is very important. Just contact with them. If you also want to include secondments and non-academic placements, you should also contact them before you're preparing your proposal. First contact with them, talk about each detail, what you will be expecting from them and what they might expecting from you. And there might be some institutions, especially in third countries, not aware of all these programs. So just give them a link or a brief explanation, what is it about, so they should know what they will be doing during your project duration, what they should be giving you also while preparing and implementing the project. So contacting with the organization is very important at the first place, and then you can proceed all together with your project proposal. Please bear in mind, you can contact us for any question, anything you want. I also wrote down in the chat box, you can maybe want some one-to-one meetings from Zoom. We are all open for that. So if you have very specific questions, you can always ask us, and our webpage is on your service, at your service. Okay.
Thank you so much, Shema. I'm sure in just a moment, Daria will introduce the next speaker. I will just quickly read a question that I've received internally in the chat. If you happen to know right off the bat, that's great. If not, we'll follow up with this person later. But they ask regarding institutional contributions. Postdoc originates pay this? Is it from the one hosting? Basically, who pays the institutional contributions?
Okay. Another very important thing. Very important thing. Your origin institution has no relation with your projects. The only organization is included is your host organization. Wherever you are working for, you may still be their staff. Of course, you will have to get a permission for, to conduct your research, but there is no relation with your previous institution. So these institutional contributions are for your host organization in the project. I hope this is clear.
And I'm just writing this down so that they have the answer written. And then just to clarify, for the global fellowship, this means that one has to keep in mind both institutions, the 1 to 2 years outside of Europe, and then the 1 year back in Europe for the mandatory return phase.
Definitely. For global fellowship, you will have 2 institutions, one in third country, one in European countries, and both of them will get the funds whenever first you will be in the third country. Of course, the money will come to the coordinator, which the institution in Europe, but they will give the money to the third country institution to spend for you and for the project. And then the rest of the money will stay in the European organization. I hope it's clear.
Thank you so much.
Do we have other questions or we finalized the session?
Yes, I don't see any other question, and I talked a lot, sorry, but there is still more to tell.
Şeyma, we had another question in our previous in-person event, and they asked if I, for example, I'm a visiting scholar, I'm not full-time affiliated with a university, but can I still apply for postdoctoral fellowships?
Well, definitely. There is no affiliation needed to apply to this organization. Actually, it's better if you're not, but if you are, you're still eligible to apply. So no affiliation is needed. This is a temporary time, of course, research. So if you don't have a tenure or anything, you are still eligible to apply to any organization.
Okay, so just have your PhD in your pocket and then apply for the MSCA. That's it. That's great. Okay, and of course, read all the documents that you have provided.
Yes.
I think they're really valuable because I'm a researcher as well. I haven't applied for MSCA, but I applied for different projects before. So I know that especially for ERC and MSCA, they have also in their websites or in these booklets, they frequently ask questions because these are not the questions that is the first time asked to NCPs or to us. And there are more detailed answers that you have perhaps not have thought about, but it might be very relevant to your application.
Yes.
So it is a kind of must, I mean, for all of us, if you want to apply for these prestigious, funding schemes that you provided, this information is very valuable. So thank you for all the information you provided, Şeyma. I know it's a bit long, and our audience here today is a bit different because we just came here to learn more about, because most of us want to apply, and especially the problems with the host institutions, or I know that many European also researchers want to come to the US because we are representing US and Canada. What I have also thought while you were, presenting and we got the questions, I think we can just connect with the Canadian and American universities that they can offer their hosting or, possibilities, because there's so many universities, they're really good at research. They want to have these researchers, PhD
researchers,
but they don't know how to do that. So I think it might be a specific session, or kind of we can work more on that in the future. This is a real need, what I have heard, till now.
I will add one more thing about Euraxess. Well, going to another country that you don't know about is a bit challenging, I know. Euraxess also has services about it. As Jackson mentioned about national portals, when you visit national portals, you will see very different information about from cultural information to schools for your kid and environment, and anything you might find. All these national portals, and also each country has national coordinators. You might type your questions about all these things. For example, for visa things and everything, if you have some question in mind, you can directly ask to Euraxess Service Centers all these questions.
These are very valuable information because they really take the burden out of their researchers, shoulders, so that they can start their research as fast as possible. So thank you so much, Şeyma, for your time. I know that in Ankara it's really late right now.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you so much. So Jackson, also thank you for moderating the Q&A session. I would like to now invite Almudena Gomez for her presentation on University of Navarra. So she has an excellent background on different projects. So I would, first I thought that it's a bit long event, but I really want to read her short bio because she has a lot of experience on this topic so that she can connect with her. Not only, I mean, of course, her university is ready to host researchers like you. And so I would like to say a few words about you, Almudena. So Almudena is an international research manager with more than 15 years of experience in research and development and innovation project management in research centers in both SME companies and big companies, and since 2020 at the university domain. Currently, she is working at the International Project Management Office of the University of Navarra in Spain. She provides information on promoting and boosting researchers' participation in European international research and development projects. She also leads the preparation of proposals in Horizon Europe, Horizon 2022, and other projects like Erasmus+. And considering her professional background as a food, she supports mainly research groups specialized in food and nutrition and engineering. In parallel, she has experience as an external expert evaluator of Horizon Europe and Horizon 22. So I would also mention that you're also eligible to register as an expert for Horizon Europe projects, because your expertise might be very valuable to evaluate the projects. Please go to Funding and Tenders portal and register as an EU expert. It's also a good, I think, platform for us to mention this. So floor is yours, Almudena.
Thank you very much, Daria, for your introduction, and thank you very much, all of you, that you are at the end of the session and you are here with us. Well, let me share my screen and with the presentation. If you have any issue, technical issue, let me know, please. I'm going to go through the presentation mode. Is it okay, everything?
Yes.
There?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well, very interesting presentations before us. Well, as Daria told you, I'm Almudena Gomez, a research manager from the International Project Management Office at the University of Navarra in Spain. And well, I'm very happy to present our university as a host institution for MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowship. And thank you very much again to EURAXESS North America for giving us this opportunity, and also remark that those national contact points, also North America and other delegations in other parts of the world, are very, very useful in order to get the knowledge of the different calls, and also to be well support in the preparation of this kind of calls, and also to see other possibilities in other countries. Well, the University of Navarra is located in Navarra. It's a small region situated in the north of Spain. You can see in the little map. Navarra is a European crossroads between the Mediterranean and the Atlantic, and connects Spain up with the rest of Europe. So, well, it's a small region, but well connected. Pamplona, which is the capital of this region, has very good connections by train and with direct flights to other national and European capitals, as for example, well, Madrid, Barcelona, and Frankfurt, which is very easy to get another other capitals. And well, the University of Navarra is a non-profit private university founded in 1952, based in Pamplona, and enrolls more than 14,000 students across 6 campuses in 3 countries, in Spain, in Germany and also in the USA with different business schools. We have a wide network of international universities and research centers also, and 10 schools, 2 superiors, colleges, and the ES business school are part of the university. And well, we cover different scientific disciplines. Well, human, legal, social science, biomedical sciences. We also count with on the hospital, and also experimental and technical science. Research is a cornerstone of the University of Navarra missions. Research that is interdisciplinary, international, and committed to social development and to sustainability. The following are the collaborative research centers in different disciplines where we developed our research. UNAV, or University of Navarra, has a sound track record in European research programs and internationals also, and it has participated in 126 European projects from previous framework programs from Europe to Horizon Europe, which is the program that's now in running, and including other kind of programs, like Erasmus+, Interreg programs that are more European, but well, we are coordinating right now 22 projects by us. And also the university has a thorough experience in MSCA and ERC grant application as well, with over 26 signed grants at the moment. University of Navarra has been awarded with the Human Resources Excellence in Research Quality Seal that guarantees the implementation of the European Charter for Researchers and the Code of Conduct for the recruitment of researchers. The question, how to apply to University of Navarra? We use the Euraxess portal, as Jackson has very well explained and show us how to go through it. And well, what I would say that first of all, we invite you to visit our hosting offers published in Euraxess by filtering, in this case, by University of Navarra. And there are hosting offers right now related to human, legal, and social science, biomedical science, experimental. At this moment, we have 28 open hosting offers, so you can go through them and well, see if you are interested in some of them or whatever, and you can get in contact directly with the supervisor. The supervisor is the researcher from the University of Navarra, who is going to prepare and collaborate with you with the project. No, so if you find something interesting for your expertise, please contact with the supervisor and send the documentation required in the hosting offer, as for example CV, concept note of the possible scientific project, a letter of motivation. That depends on the supervisor. Well, after that, it's a very informal way. First of all, you get in contact through email, you send the documentation, and you can establish or arrange a meeting with the supervisor. And there will be a scientific assessment of the CV and concept note to be done by the supervisor. And in parallel, there will be an assessment of the eligibility criteria that Seema has very well explained, that it requires this kind of call. So that part it will be done by us from the we will do it from the International Project Management Office. And if the candidacy goes forward, you will receive a support from the supervisor and the scientific point of view. This construction of this proposal is a very collaborative way of prepare the proposal. It's something individual, but joined with the supervisor. And then all the part related to the management, you will receive a very, I would say, as good as possible from our side, support from us for the proposal for preparation according to all the requirements of the call. So if you are interested, well, we encourage you to visit our hosting offers through the Euraxess webpage. And if you have any doubt, do not hesitate to contact us directly, and also get the support also with your Euraxess national contact points or other colleagues that, well, it's very useful, and we are more than grateful for their help. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Almudena. I think now we are processing through the more practical side than the technical ones that we expressed. Of course, Jackson's part was also a bit practical, because sometimes we just know that, okay, there's one hosting organization, how we can search. But I think in this session, we just saw also the other practical side of this application. So thank you so much for your presentation. And then I think we will go with Dr. Zahir Tohir. So you joined us a bit late due to your conflict in your schedule, I guess. So can you turn on your camera, Zahir, if it is possible? He's with us, right? Yeah.
Yes, I've already shared my camera. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us today, Zahir. So perhaps you can start briefly talking about yourself, your experience, or you can just merge together while you're also, because you're all going to talk about the very practical side of this application. And it's so valuable, because these do's and don't do's are very important, because we can have so many mistakes. That's very common, but hearing from you would be very beneficial for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dara, for introducing about myself. So good evening, everyone. I don't know what's the time zone there. Good afternoon, maybe. So my name is Zahir Tohir. Currently, I am a postdoctoral fellow at University of Navarra. So I'm forever thankful to Euraxess, because I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, I was one of the attendees of these kinds of programs, and now it's a pleasure for me to being able to share with everyone. So today I will be talking about my experience as an applicant of MSCA Postdoctoral Fellow. So yeah, I also put on my email there, should you have any questions, you can just email me later on in terms of the practical experience that I have. Okay, firstly, why did I choose University of Navarra? So there are 2 main points that I wanted to share today. First is about research opportunities and also growth opportunities. So like what Almudena has mentioned, I found my project through Euraxess. So like I said, I'm forever thankful to Euraxess for giving me sort of like the chance to matchmake with my current employer. So in terms of research opportunities, when I was looking at the website, for information, my background is fire safety, fire science, fire safety, and I've been doing research on fire safety in buildings and sort of things. And I was looking into a topic that matches my expertise. And while I was looking at the Euraxess website, and I saw this advert which offers a topic which matches to my expertise. So, and I read more and more, and I found out that the School of Architecture, in which the school that I'm attached with at the University of Navarra, is one of the best in Spain. And also my host professor is one of the leading experts in building integration. So this is one of the key points. I mean, having a university or having a school that is one of the best. And also for me, the most important thing is the project matches my expertise and also the professor's vision of the project. So it is, for me, is one important thing to begin with. And also looking at the growth opportunities, the university offers a commendable and good work-life balance, and the university also provides good benefits to the staff. And also me having a wife and also 3 young kids, settling down in Pamplona, Spain is very good. I mean, it's a very nice city. It's not too big. It's not too small. Everything is reachable by walking. So I think it's good for me to settle down and start, I mean, integrating with the university work and so on. So I think in terms of work-life balance, it's very good for me. So I'm looking at these 2 main points of why I chose University of Navarra. Next is about my experience with the host. So I will maybe tell a bit about the history of how I got to contact with my host and also the administrative support by Almudena and so on. So once I saw the advert, I emailed them straight away my CV and my vision and so on. And then one that catches my attention is that the host replied to me very soon. So for me, communication is key. So during the application process, we have been emailing between us. I mean, like almost like every week, maybe every 2 or 3 days, and the host is very responsive. So this is one of the key points. I mean, if you want to look for a host, try to look for a host that is very responsive, and I'm glad that I found a host that is very responsive. So the other thing is about communication is that I think you have to be transparent and you have to be clear in whatever you want to get. If you have any doubts, if you have any questions, if you need anything to clarify, I think you have to just ask them. So I think for me it works. So having a good communication between us, I think it helps a lot while preparing the proposal and so on. And also about interaction with the host, I think the research management office with Almudena is very helpful. I mean, if I have any types of questions with regards to the application process, I just email to them and they will reply to me straight away. So I think one important thing is to have a good interaction with the host, not only with the supervisor, but also the administrative support. And one of my other experience with the host is that the integration. So this is more to once I have gotten once I have received the fellowship. So the university has helped me settling in here very well. I mean, in terms of the movements from my own country and up until here, So the process of applying the visas, the process of applying the resident cards, and so on. So the university has helped me a lot in terms of that. Despite our family, myself, we don't speak any Spanish before. The process of integration of my family here is seamless. So everything is on point and everything is great. So actually, why I'm telling this is that because the integration itself is important for the researchers. Because not only that you are moving from another country, but how quickly you can adapt to the new country and then to settle down, not only about the work, but also about your life. So now maybe I want to share a bit of tips and tricks for a successful application. So these are the 3 key points that I want to share with every one of you. The first thing is that I think I have already emphasized of the importance of communication. So I think this is the most important thing. So to have a constant communication with the host and with the administrative support, I think this is one of the most important things. So I maintain regular contact with the host. So whenever I have any questions, whenever I have prepared something in the proposal, I ask the host whether it's fine or not. And also, so the discussion between me and the host professor is about the project, about the topic. At the same time, I also received feedback from the administrative support from Almudena. So this kind of feedback is more towards the formatting, the match with the criteria required by the European Commission and so on. So we have this constant communication between us, in which I think it helps a lot, because it was my first time applying for this fellowship, and I don't have any backgrounds or have any experience in applying for this fellowship before. So discussing a lot with the host and with the administrative support helps me a lot in creating, for me, a good proposal. So I appreciate the hosts who are very attentive and responsive to my needs and so on. And the next point is you have to stay focused. So the point I want to make here is that you need to understand the process thoroughly. So how the committees evaluate your proposals. So how you have to understand the whole process. So what are the required things for the applications and so on. I think Seema has explained well in her presentation on what to do and what not to do and so on. I want to recommend you to take all those points into account whenever you want to prepare for the proposal, because it helps. Because when I attended these kinds of events in the past, I've took notes and I took everything into account when I was preparing my proposal. So and you have to stay focused and not be astray out of the requirements needed for the application process. And then finally, you have to embrace the cycle of drafting and revising. So I couldn't remember how many drafts I've made for the proposals. I think it's at least 10. Okay, so I drafted the proposal and then I sent it to my host, and then he read what I have written and then give feedback, and then the process goes on and on and on and on until I think at least 10 times of drafting process. So I think you need to have some ample time for you to prepare a good proposal. I would say, I don't know, in my experience, it was like around 2 months to get a good proposal. So 2 months writing the proposal. I mean, the preparation of the project starts, I mean, much earlier, maybe in 3 or 4 months before. But the writing process itself, I think, if you're focusing on it and you give like 70 or 80% commitment of writing the proposal, I think it will take like 2 months to get a very good proposal. And yes, there are no shortcuts to success. It was a not painful, but it was a good experience writing the proposal. I enjoyed it a lot, and I've learned a lot from the process. And yeah, I think that is all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zahir. I think we got a lot of points that would be really helpful for us, for our audience as well. And you didn't tell us about your research, but I think if the audience is interested in your area, how did you, on which area you are working, I think they can contact you also if they have other questions as well, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Feel free to email me.
Thank you so much. So we conclude and I also want to look at the Q&A box if they have any questions to Almudena and you. Did you see? And I would like to invite our speakers turn on their cameras. I think we don't have any questions to Almudena and you, Zahir, do we? I don't see any.
Perhaps as we give the audience a moment or two if to think of any questions, if they I'd like to ask Almudena in your capacity, in your current position, but then to Zahir is a recent alumnus of the program or a recent fellow. So when one's looking for a global fellowship, of course, when anyone looking for any fellowship can go on the Euraxess hosting portal and then also contact universities directly to find hosting offers and discuss further. Our hosting offers, can prospective applicant also look for hosting offers regarding the mandatory return phase? So I'm just thinking out loud, if we are contacted by researchers who want to do the global fellowship, come to the United States, come to Canada, but then of course they would need to think of a European institution for that mandatory 1-year return phase. Is it the exact same hosting offer for that 1-year return phase? It's just clearly 1 year maximum instead of the 2, or would this be a separate type of hosting offer? Of course, we know people based in Europe that would.
Oops.
I think I cut out, but basically
Jackson,
are the hosting offers also sort of valid and posted with the encouragement of those looking for the return phase host as well?
Well, if I well understood your question, we don't have different hosting offers for global mode or the European one. In fact, we only publish hosting offers with a line of research or idea of a possible project, and then when we get in contact with the candidates, well, we will see the eligibility criteria, and if, for example, they are interested in a global, or the eligible criteria goes to a global mode, we also take that into account. In fact, now situation, we are going through a global. So, and also we find that it would be great to have contacts in outside Europe to get in contact with those hosted institutions in the global mode. But in fact, there are cases that those candidates has contacts in other countries because they are from from Spain or from other countries. It's a very worldwide call, so that is fantastic. It's open for everybody. So we have contacts from other places. So there is no distinction between global and European, if I answer the question.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I know Shema had to go due to time zone differences, so I'd like to ask to both of you if you happen to have any information on this. On if applications are generally approved on the first application or not. Well, I apologize for my connection issues. I think you can read the question in the Q&A if I'm cutting off, but statistics on how many rounds a typical applicant might apply.
I think we couldn't hear your question, the question, Jackson. Can you repeat again?
Apologies. Just in the written question in the Q&A box, if there's information available on how many times an applicant typically applies before a successful proposal, because I know acceptance rates are about 16% in last year's round of postdoctoral fellowships, if I remember. So clearly very competitive. Is it quite common people would apply several times in a row before being successful?
Yeah, that's very, very competitive call. And in this case, Sahir, it was for the first time. I suppose you can answer, yeah.
Yes, I've heard that there were other projects that where the applicants were applying on the first try, they received it. So I think it's not uncommon. So it depends on the proposal. It's not how many numbers of applications. So if you are writing a good proposal, I think you'll get a good result.
Okay, but I think still many researchers applied more than perhaps 2 or 3 tried until they get the, acceptance, right? Okay. Perfect. So I think, all the questions are answered, right? For all of you for joining us and for your support as well. Shema is not anymore with us, but hopefully in the future we will connect you with other researchers as well, because we have sometimes some questions, what are the universities in Europe, so that you can be our contact points as well. I also want to remind that the recording of this webinar will be accessible. So I know because of the some of the audience could not stay till the end of the session, so they can watch this seminar, this info session on our YouTube channel and our website as well. And Jackson will share a follow-up email tomorrow with all the presentations in PDF format, so that this portal and follow our social media channels for further updates. We really share all the deadlines regularly and share about previous recordings and the upcoming events, which I think in the follow-up email, Jackson, we are also going to share the information about ERC and Pillar 2, because some of the researchers are also eligible to apply for ERC starting grants, for example. So it is a really great initiative and funding scheme. And I also add that for the Pillar 2, some of the attendees might also be in the University Research Administration. So Pillar 2 might be also very proper for them. So thank you again. And I would like to say all the parts, audience, have a good night.
Thank you very much. Bye. Have a nice day or night.
Thank you to the speakers. Thank you to the audience. And we look forward to sharing the recording with you soon. Bye-bye.